Welcome back to the DomenickNatiShow on iHeartRadio and also Intellectual Radio in Chicago. Just as we have been promising, it is now time to speak to our celebrity guest. He has 2 million Snapchat viewers per day. You've seen him on CNN, Entertainment Tonight, Inside Edition, TMZ, Dr. Oz, The O'Reilly Factor, and he has his own show on WeTV, the one, the only, Dr. Miami. Doctor, how you doing?
Doing great, Tom. Thank you for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
How about that intro? Did you like the intro?
I love that intro, man. You know, for your listeners who might not know, Domenick has more swag in his little pinky than I have in my entire body.
Oh!
And it may not be saying much, but it's true. So.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I made him say that, but no. Well,
no, you did not, man. You did not. Yeah. But it's true. It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plastic surgery questions. Now,
yeah, go ahead.
A lot of plastic surgeons refuse to give people. I have a friend, and she went to somebody in Beverly Hills. They would not give her the size butt that she wanted. They steered her another way. Some say, they won't do like certain like excessively large breasts and butt. Why do you choose to give women the body that they want?
I give the people what they want, man. I think that's the first rule of capitalism, right? Give the people what they want,
No, I'm with you. I've seen them in the office. It's interesting.
Impressive, huh? Thank you.
Yes. So the recovery process, what is that like? So you suck the fat out, you put it in the girl, like these women's butt, right? Now,
yeah.
Can't just
you're talking about the Brazilian butt lift, the fat transfer. Yeah.
Yeah.
We suck out the fat, we put it in the butt. I mean, the recovery is horrendous. I mean, the first 4 days are miserable. And I tell the patients ahead of time, the first 4 days are absolutely miserable. We give you pain meds to get through it, but it really feels like you got run over by a reindeer. I mean, you just feel sore everywhere in your body. It's not like breaking a bone pain or like giving birth pain, but it's up there. It's like maybe a 7 or an 8 on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being like, the worst torture possible. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that's a good 3-4 days of that. But yeah, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
That's right.
That's how surgery is done. We cut and we move tissues around, and there's nerves and there's swelling, and it's uncomfortable.
Now, do you do penis implants?
I don't. I've done fat injection to the penis to increase girth, and there's a whole number of tricks you can do to increase the girth of the penis. But length of the penis is not something it's not really ready for prime time. There's not too much that's offered that works well. It doesn't have complications and stuff like that. When it comes to new procedures, I always like to wait a little bit and see how the long-term results turn out before you jump on it. You don't want to be on that, literally the bleeding edge of something. You want to make sure that, they work the kinks out before you, put it in your penis.
And the fat transfer, that just makes like a frying pan type penis. Is that what you're doing?
No, not frying pan, but it's just, you just put fat all around the circumference of it, and, it gets, you can increase the girth by an inch or two. I'm told that is important for many people. And it works. It's not real pretty. I'll say that, with a fat transfer to the butt, it's beautiful because the fat survives real well. A butt is not something you necessarily move that much. It doesn't change in size and shape, and it's not thrust into things, like a penis might be. And the skin's real thick, so even if you put the fat deep, the surface is still it's the same as it was before, so it's still smooth and nice and round. But with a penis, the skin is very thin, the blood supply is abundant, and therefore the metabolic rate is higher, so the fat doesn't survive as well, and it can be kind of lumpy, can survive more in one area than another, and because the skin's so thin, there's nothing to kind of cover it and mask those differences, so it can kind of look a little bit strange if it's fatter on one side than the other. For all those reasons, it's not a perfect operation, the fat transfer of the penis. And again, the penis changes size, it moves, you do all kinds of things with it, theoretically, right? So, it's not,
Theoretically. Yeah. Now, what is labiaplasty?
So labiaplasty is it's a surgery that makes a woman's private parts neater looking, prettier. So the idea is that if women have extra skin, and many women do have extra skin, either from just the way they're made, genetics or whatever, or from childbirth, and things are stretched out. So what we do is we kind of trim. One patient called it like the extra roast beef. Kind of looks like roast beef hanging off the end of the sandwich. So we trim that little extra bit and just tidy things up. You can also do a vaginal tightening, which actually tightens the vaginal canal and makes everything just kind of tighter.
I gotcha. Okay, so it's like going from like two curtain panes down to one.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think and a lot of women are self-conscious about it, and they want they don't my patients say they don't make love with the lights on, and they're just embarrassed about the way it looks, and
Okay. Now, when you're by these women's areas, right?
Yeah.
Have you have you had some patients that didn't clean themselves or shave or like groom themselves?
Yeah, of course. Look, and that's any doctor that deals with naked bodies all day, understands that there's some people take better care of themselves hygienically than others. It doesn't faze me, as a doctor or as a surgeon. So, but yeah,
Has it ever been unbearable where you're like, oh, gotta wash this, I can't take it?
No, never, not yet. I'll call you though if that comes up.
Please do. Yeah.
I think this one is for Dom. Hold on. I'm gonna be my colleague.
Just have you just throw it up in the corner.
It's my trainee, my apprentice.
Now, if you, I do great when I'm in there. Yeah, I'm pass out the
you've been training your whole life for it. You're ready. I'll put you in, coach.
Yeah, I had to take a break. Now, have you had like interns or people that walk in out of medical school? They think they can hack it, and they walk in there, and then they're like they just pass out, or they
yes, that happens all the time. Happens all the time. In fact, whenever we have somebody new in the operating room watching, a student or a resident or somebody, we always try to have a nurse next to them just in case, because people do pass out, and it happens very quickly, like before they can realize it. They're just like suddenly on the floor. We had one. I remember we had a camera guy from we did a story for one of the MTV shows, and the camera guy said, "Oh, I can handle this. I've seen this many times." And then in the middle of surgery, and all of a sudden, him and the whole camera and everything just falls over to the side, unconscious. It was an expensive camera, so it wasn't a great day for them, but.
No, it's not easy. I walked in there when I saw someone's nipples off, and I was like, the room started spinning. I'm with you.
It's a very common reaction. Some people get lightheaded just by seeing blood or seeing a needle going into somebody, or even talking about it. Some people just the mental image that they think of when you talk about that sort of thing can make people lightheaded.
Now, I noticed that you don't Snapchat or work on Saturdays. Now, why is that?
Oh, so you want to go into my personal life? Yeah, sure. So I'm an Orthodox. Sure. I'm an Orthodox Jew. So we don't work on Saturday. We don't work on Sabbath. It's our Sabbath. It's Saturday.
Now, how does that work with? You have 4 boys. 4 boys.
I have 4 boys and a girl. Yeah, 5 kids.
4 boys and a girl. Now, do the Orthodox Jews, do they circumcise?
Yes, we do. In fact,
okay.
I am. Maybe you didn't know this. Yeah, I'm a ritual circumcised. I call them a mohel, an mohel. So I do that for babies and adults. So
adults.
Yeah, adults. Yeah, adults. Yeah. Now with babies, Jews, we circumcise on the 8th day, so they're little wee things. They scream for like a minute or two, and that's basically it. But adults we have to do in the operating room with local anesthetic. And the ones that I typically do are either men that are converting to Judaism, or they grew up like in a country that didn't allow them to practice their religions freely, like in Russia or Cuba. Mainly Cuba and Russia. Those are the main places that I see here in Miami. And they just come in, you know, like, and they come in, we numb them up, we do it, and they like go to work the next day. It's kind of like an in and out thing.
What? Really? Are
Yeah.
they ready to have sex? Hey?
No. You can't get back in the saddle for about a month.
Here's what I've always thought was weird, right? Because I have a son, right? And it's like, if I got an ice sculpture for my wedding, I would want to see the sculptor's portfolio before I trusted him, you know, with... Do you have a portfolio?
No, I don't, but I do have a lot of pictures of penises on my phone, probably more than I should, you know, just in case it gets stolen. Because people will send me their picture like beforehand or afterwards. Does this look okay, Doc? Is this feeling right? You know, so yeah, if anyone got a hold of my phone, they'd be confused. Yeah. Because they're not like healthy, normal people. They're like, you know, they got wounds and stitches, and it's like, whoa, what's this guy into? Yeah.
No, I think every soldier should have a helmet. I'm totally with you.
Every soldier should have a helmet. But.
Yes, that's right. Now, you've worked on some celebrities, right? Now, are there some celebrities that I know? Now, I'm not gonna make more work for myself, like by saying anything bad. Are there some celebrities that you've operated on that obviously it's in the news? Like, can you list some of the ones that you're allowed to talk about?
I mean, you know, I've done like a whole season of Bad Girls Club. Like literally, like I don't know, like a whole cast. And what's the other? You know, the Teen Moms, like half the Teen Moms. Those the reality stars, they don't mind talking about their surgeries, and I think kudos to them, you know, for being, you know, honest and open about it. There's a lot of other celebrities and singers and stuff that I've done that just, they don't want people to know, even though we all kind of know, they just, for whatever reason, want to pretend like, you know, it's just the way they were made. Which always kind of struck me as odd, because especially for people in the public eye, there's so many pictures of them. Oh, you know, let's say you started to be in the public eye when you were 15 or 16. There's pictures going way back to your teenage years, and all of a sudden at age 23, suddenly you have big boobs and a big butt and everything, you know, and you look completely different than you did at 20. And again, obviously we're going to figure that out, but still some of those people still want to talk about it.
So basically you're saying Nicki Minaj, like, nobody's buying it, right?
Nobody's buying it, no. No. But look. I don't want to reignite Nicki stuff, but yeah, I mean, come on. Right.
Yeah. Now, which celebrity that you know, was your favorite to work on that you can discuss?
I worked on Farrah Abraham. I mean, pre her backdoor teen mom phase, you know, like before she went into porn. And she was actually really not, you know, there's an interesting story. She came to my house for Friday night dinner, you know, for Sabbath dinner after her surgery. Yeah. And just like a normal person, just hung out with me, talked to the kids, and, you know, it was, so, that's an interesting.
Was it comfortable? Was that like?
Yeah, they were comfortable. I mean, this is before, like before all that, before the porn stuff. So she was just a patient who had a nose job and was coming over for dinner. That's it. I mean, she had her bandages on and stuff. That was kind of awkward, but I had a nice, pleasant conversation with my daughter and my wife. Totally normal person. So like when I see her on TV and I see her on TV and on the shows and stuff, it's a little bit different than the person that I knew. You know. Yeah. But
so you did a nose job and then she came over. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Like literally Thursday and like Friday she came over to the house for dinner with her bandages and everything.
Is that a first? I mean, is that normal for you guys or no?
No, that's not normal. That is very unusual. But I just kind of was, you know, politely said, hey, you know, if you want to come over for dinner, and she's like, sure. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
And if anyone wants to follow you, it is, of course I know, but you tell them.
The Real Dr. Miami. The Real Dr. Miami, on all social media, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram.
The Real Dr. Miami. Follow him on Snapchat especially, and also his show is coming to WeTV first quarter of next year. Doctor, thank you so much for being on the show today.
It's awesome, Domenick. Anytime, man. And I'm waiting for those Gucci sneakers. I'm getting it.
Gucci sneakers? Yeah, they're coming.
Yes. I can't wait. I bought them. I'm coming on Friday. I can't wait. Thank you for your expertise and swagginess.
Yes,
I really appreciate it.
I'm always here. I don't have any skill set like you do as far as surgery, but I do know which Gucci's look good. And those ones are you're kill it.
Well, good team. All right, be well, man.